faith and film. We're watching the movie Dunkirk, which is a World War II movie set in Britain.
And not a Marvel movie.
Yeah, not a Marvel movie.
That's weird.
It's, who knew that they made movies other than Marvel?
Yeah, they make movies that don't have superheroes in it. This is a first for me. I don't really understand what that's all about. But, that's good that they're, branching off and doing something new.
It's not owned by Disney, and so they can do real things.
Wow. Historical documentaries. So, by the way, there's something called history. Stuff actually happened. It's not all fantasy world in movies, as we are led to believe at this point. But, yeah, what'd you think?
Dude, I love World War II movies in the first place. My grandfather fought in World War II as a merchant marine, was like torpedoed off the coast of Madagascar, and was in the water for like a week. And I mean,
That's
just
nuts.
crazy stuff. Yeah. And so I've got a special place in my heart like that. I think my favorite is Saving Private Ryan. Just so good.
Yeah.
But this is fantastic movie. Different type of movie. And as far as it relates to kind of the thing that we've been doing this summer, I think that it doesn't necessarily land where some of these other movies land. And how we're going to approach this is going to be a little different.
Yeah, and I think that's because it doesn't really follow a main character. Yeah. I mean, I don't even know anybody's name in this movie.
Yeah. The only reason I know any names is because Jocelyn can't understand the British, and so we watched it with the subtitles, and it has their names in it.
Yeah, so I mean, instead, like, let's think about it this way. We're gonna do something totally different this time. So if you've been following along with Faith and Film stuff for a while now, usually we try to find Christ characters and that kind of thing. But really, this revolves more around a location than around a person, and so around that. And so let's kind of take that for a little bit. And when I watched this movie through those lenses, I realized that what this movie is painting a story of is there's a whole bunch of people stuck on a piece of land with the enemy crashing down, trying to figure out, is it possible for me to get home? Is it possible for me to get to the place where I actually belong? And some of these people try saving themselves, jumping on ships or doing whatever they can to save themselves, and realizing that it doesn't work. Yeah. Every time they try to save themselves, they either make the situation worse or they're just still stuck in the same kind of situation. And so here you have these people who can't save themselves, the enemy's crashing down on them, and they need somebody from the outside to come in and to bring salvation. And so I totally see that. You see some of that too?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, look specifically, we've got the different segments of it too. You've got those on the land, those coming from the sea, those over the air, and that's kind of how the story intersects. There's not this main character. It's the different type of scenarios that kind of all intersect around this one thing. And so, I think let's talk about like land first.
Yeah.
We obviously know who the enemy is, right? In every World War II movie, you know who the enemy is.
It's always Germany, and Germany is always a direct correlation to Satan. Always.
It's 1-to-1, really.
Really, all the time.
Hitler is the devil.
Yeah. And so, I mean, there's definitely the people trying to save themselves. There's people trying to to help them from where they're at, but they're equally in need of a savior and trying to figure out, man, how do we do this life as we ourselves need a savior, and kind of looking out for that.
Yeah, and we get to see a close-up of some of the characters who are actively trying to seek to save themselves. You got the dudes in the rowboats who are trying to go over the brakes, and it just doesn't work out. You got the kind of the main couple characters who are trying everything, trying to go on the stretcher. Let's see if if I pretend to save this guy, if I'll be saved, or if I hide and pretend like nothing's the deal, then I'll be saved, or maybe I'm going to bring along a buddy with me and we can try to save each other together, and nothing ever works.
And then you have the people that just sit there. And it's like, well,
or give up. The guy who walks in kills himself.
And so of like, hey, this life is hard and I can't do it myself, and so I'm just going to kind of fall in line and just do what everybody else is doing. Land. What about sea?
I think sea, obviously, you've got the Navy. The Navy's coming in. There is going to be some sort of savior, but it's slow. They only can do so much at a time. And so the main part of the story is the laymen, the non-professionals who get requisitioned from the British Navy to come and to save, and they have to answer the call, right? They have to take up the call, put their money where their mouth is, and it's young and it's old, and they get on the boat and they come out, and the story centers around the one dad and his son's friend.
And I love that it's not hired professionals that come and do the saving. That it's average, everyday people who see somebody who is lost and like oppressed and in need of a savior, and going, you know what, like. I hear that this is my job, and so I'm gonna do it, even though I don't know that I'm fully equipped or whatever. And I love that there's kind of the difference between the dad and his sons, or the boys. Like, dad's got some wisdom and some information, and so we're gonna do this. But then there's young kids on there. He's like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm gonna follow somebody who does, because something needs to happen, and I'm willing to risk it all for that.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And then, so the next one, we've got Air, right? So we've got these pilots, this group of 3 dudes, and really their job is, at all costs, make sure that our men are safe.
Yeah.
We're gonna protect, and we're gonna be handling the enemy who's bombing and whatever. And it comes down, we lose one who then gets picked up by the dudes on the boat, and then we've got the main character who sacrifices himself even to save everybody else. Like, he's running out of fuel, he's headed home. Like, he can make it back to the base. He's the bomber coming in. He goes, all right, and turns around and he uses the rest of his fuel and the rest of his time in the movie sacrificing himself in order to save everybody else.
Certainly, if there's a Christ character, I think it's that guy. I think it's the
It's
guy
always
who
Tom Hardy.
it's always Tom Hardy. The guy who defeats the enemy, saves the people, and really you kind of get this sense that he gave up his life in order to do that.
He's taken by the enemy at the end.
But
so is in a sacrificial way.
Now's a good time for you guys to chat about that, to figure out, all right, what did you see? How did that all fit together? And then taking, we gave you a big chunk of it, but then kind of relate that, what does that mean for us? It's pretty clear, like, there's some people who need to be saved, there's people who need to go get them. Maybe chat about, okay, who needs to be saved? Who are the people that need to go and take part in that saving process? And what about people who are trained or not trained? Or what about like, how much should you risk? How much should you give up? I think that all of this stuff kind of comes in this movie, and I think that's a good stuff to talk about.
Yep. So we'll see you next time, guys. Enjoy your time talking with one another, and we'll be back here in just a little bit.
Bye.